is filled with endless amounts of information. From the world's greatest leaders to celebrities, it's full of internet identities. In fact, our century is known for the online identities. You can meet many individuals who have personalized an identity online. Through our group's research, we found many positives and negatives to the effect of having an online identity. Today, our group will share with you our research of using an online interface, and it gives you the ability to create and secondalize a personal identity that is unique to them when using an online or non-face-to-face interface. Let's begin by looking at the positive sides of internet identities.
Even though having an online identity can cause many problems, there's also a lot of good that can come from it. According to Megan Casterly, who wrote Multiple Personalities in Social Media, The Many Faces of Me, she talks about in her paper about how when you have multiple social media accounts, you can pose many different issues and talk about many different problems on each account. And another thing she said is it's easier for businesses to market and advertise more because more people are seeing it because there's a lot of people on social media. Now, Tim Blummer and Nicole Doran, who wrote the paper Are We the Same Online? The expression of the 5 character personality traits on the computer and internet, talk about who people who have disabilities or social anxiety or any type of problems where they can't leave their house or they don't like to are able to still interact online. And I've seen this firsthand because I know people who aren't able to leave their house and they still are able to get online and talk to family and friends. Because if you can't leave your house, how are you going to talk to a relative or a loved one who, say, lives in another state? So I like this point a lot, and I feel like that's another very good thing about having an online identity. And another positive point in their paper was people who spend more time online are open to new experiences. And this is because they're able to talk more and do things more and not worry about really being judged. And one point on a positive of an online identity that I agree with fully, and you see it all the time in news and social media, and this is in The Weird Reasons Why People Make Up False Identities on the Internet by Charles Scheif, talks about how police officers and FBI and crime use social media to catch sexual predators or people who commit crimes online or committed crimes and put it online. They're able to see that and catch them. And I feel like that's very helpful, and it has saved many lives and will continue to do so. And another thing is the government is able to find out terrorist attacks by social media and seeing what people are posting. And a lot of people don't like that because it is an invasion of privacy. But in the long run, it is helping us. Now, the last point I'm going to talk about is in the paper, The Online Identity Crisis by Dave Vonoray. He talks about people who have an online identity like to talk more about like their problems in like support groups or any issues that they have going on. They can talk more openly about it because say there's nobody that they know in the support group, they can talk about it and not worry about being judged or that information getting passed. So having an online identity can be more private, and it keeps your information just with people who really don't know you. Now that we talked about the positives about online identity, we're going to talk about the negatives.
Having the ability to create a second online personality or identity poses many negative effects, and some of these negative effects include the negative effects associated with the intentional creation of second online personalities for the purpose of deception. And as stated in the article by Charles Seif, the use of second online identities or personalities is termed sock puppetry. And there have been many examples of sock puppetry occurring almost daily around the world, but they're usually not given much attention. However, a few examples receive attention from media outlets all across the world. And one of these examples is the story of Casey Nicole. And this story had visible negative effects on people all across the world. The story of Casey Nicole was created in 1999 by Debbie Swenson. And Casey was introduced to the world in a blog which was telling her story about her battle with leukemia. And once Casey finally lost her battle with leukemia on the 14th of May in 2001, the outpouring of grief from her online fans was real and palpable, as stated in the article by Seif. And the example of Casey confirms the fact that these fictitious personalities can have very real impacts on the people who buy into them. And on another note, there are also downfalls associated with the creation of a false identity that makes up for the qualities that a person is lacking in real life. And in addition to creating completely fictitious identities, it's been shown that it isn't uncommon for people to create an online identity that actually makes up for the qualities that they are lacking themselves in real life. And this identity is known as their ideal identity or personality. So by overcompensating, if you will, there may be negative consequences when it comes to a person's confidence and also their mental state. And the creation of this mistaken sense of self, which is what's created when a person forms a fake online identity, which is making up for what they lack in real life, is something that, according to Karen Wegula, underlines all sorts of issues that bring people into therapy. And the creation of online identities can also be impacting how we interact with people in real life. So the ability to create an online identity, or multiple identities, allows us the ability to interact with multiple different people online, all across the world in whichever setting it may be. However, this may actually be impacting how we interact with people offline or in person. And as Megan Casterly predicted in her article, the pitfall of multiple online personalities will be the lasting social ramifications. People's ability to connect with each other both online and offline. So having an online identity can be either harmful or helpful. So what are the common trends of today's internet users?
Some popular trends in online identity include anonymous, attention-seeking, and true representation. Scott Biel, author of the article entitled The Online Identity Crisis, says that online users are pushed towards anonymous services such as Whisper. So why the push? Biel believes that apps such as Whisper and Secret provide a haven from the ruthless scrutiny often found in mainstream social media. However, it's not truly about remaining anonymous in social media or pretending to be something we're not. It's about the control. By controlling the subsets of our true selves we create authenticity. The idea is supported by the scientists Tim Bloomer and Nicole Doring, who have concluded in their study of online personalities that our personalities always stay the same online. However, what changes is how we express them. Opposite of remaining anonymous are those who attention seek online. Charles Seif, author of The Virtual Unreality, says that because we do not often meet the people we social network with, we tend to create personas that embody what we wish we were. As also described by Wyatt, Seif discusses the two types of false personalities in his article, and they are called Type 1 and Type 2 sock puppets. Type 1 sock puppet is the most common attention seeker. These individuals create a persona or an identity with a quality or experience they are lacking. In all cases, the point seems to be they are seeking authority, attention, or a profit. Lastly, are those who represent themselves rightly online. Those who do represent themselves rightly online do not tend to spend a lot of time building a social persona and are often found not participating in social media. However, as Megan Casterly, author of Multiple Personalities, stated, you can never be 100% sure of a person's online identity. And going back to what Seif said, it's only natural for us to create a persona. No matter how true or fake an identity is online, you'll always be able to find traces of a real person in their social media use, web searches, and emails. As Thomas Camaro Premusic said, it seems clear that our various online personas are all digital breadcrumbs of the same person, different symptoms of our core self.
In conclusion, using an online interface gives that individual the ability to create a second, personalized identity that is unique to them when using an online or non-face-to-face interface. From the positives to the negatives and the trends that follow, we can be sure these identities have become a sure part of our future. The internet is filled with many identities, so what is yours?
Looking for drugs in all the wrong places. Wanted to be famous but ended up nameless. Love is not the answer. I'm in love with the stuff I spent